It is March 17th. I wasn't sure I was going to keep doing these, but I guess it's easier to give large groups of people information this way. And maybe it's good for me too. For those who don't know, December of 2014, I had had a few tests done, an MRI and a CT scan, because I was having some weird symptoms, and my doctor just wanted to follow up on that and double check. The scans found a small 4mm tumor in my brain and several of about the same size in my lower left lung. At the time, she gave me the option and said I could either go downstairs and make an appointment for radiation, and they were likely going to radiate the tumor in my brain, or I could wait and do a rescan in a few months, and then they'd have a better idea of what we were dealing with. Because if it, increased in size or changed density or something, then they'd have a better idea what it was. Because at that time, it was just really too small to be sure. So March 2nd, I went in for a follow-up CT scan and an MRI. The good news was that the tumor in my brain hadn't changed at all. It had stabilized. So it's still there, but it's the same. It hasn't changed. The bad news was the CT scan showed that my left lung was filled, like all of it, with tumors of all kinds of different sizes. And the lower right lung also had a number of them. And I guess it was very clear on the CT scan that they were metastasized cancerous nodules. They also found metastasized lesions on my spine, my lumbar spine, in that CT scan. That CT scan only went from about here to my pelvis. So her first order of business was to give me some information and some options, some things to think about. Obviously, I was going to have radiation on that lumbar site, and I was going to have to go into some kind of other full-time treatment. I didn't want to do Lupron again, and I didn't want to do intravenous chemotherapy, so at this point I've decided to do a oral chemotherapy called Xelata, and it is specifically made for metastasized breast cancer. So I will be starting that in the next few days. She sent me in for a bone scan because the CT scan only did so much, so she wanted to make sure that it wasn't throughout my skeletal structure and that it wasn't in the bone marrow. I got the results for that bone scan yesterday, and it wasn't exactly what I'd hoped for. It spread throughout my skeletal system. The very worst site, I guess they were able to more clearly see the site in my low back. It was really bad. So that's where they're going to do radiation first. All the other spots, I got to see the image. She showed it to me, what the bone scan looked like. So you could see your entire skeletal system. And all over it, like freckles on an Irish kid's face, are all these lit up white spots. And those are all, I guess, diseased areas where the cancer is spreading. So she gave me an injection yesterday of some kind of medication, I can't remember the name, but it's supposed to protect my bones from further damage. I met with the radiation oncologist, and he had me do another kind of CT scan that day, so they could start mapping out how they're going to do my treatments, my first round of radiation treatments. So it's going to take them about a week, I guess, to map that out, because it's very precise. They angle the machine so it only hits diseased areas. and spares as much of the healthy tissue as possible. But it takes them a while, I guess, to map that out, so I won't be starting that for about a week, maybe a little longer, depending on how long it takes them to map it out and set up my schedule. Once I start doing radiation, I will be doing radiation every day during the weekdays. So 5 days a week, I will do radiation every day. I will have a weekend off, and then I should be doing another round of radiation treatments for 5 days. So I should have a total of 10 treatments of radiation on this lower lumbar site. If for some reason I can't tolerate it, if they have to lower the intensity of the treatment, then that's going to get stretched out longer. I was told that the two together will sometimes make things worse as far as side effects and being able to function. It's going to be harder, naturally. I've been in quite a bit of pain for a while now, and it's been getting worse. Sometimes it's hard to just walk around because the pain from this site in my low back is shooting down my hip and down my leg and across my low back. It's pretty bad. It's the only site that I'm really aware of right now. The radiation oncologist says that the radiation is actually going to help with that pain. As they start to, I guess, kill the disease, the pain should get better. He said, though, once that happens, it's very likely that I will suddenly be aware of the other sites in my body, because that is generating so much pain. That's the only site I'm aware of. So once they get that under control, it's very likely that I will suddenly be in pain other places. So, and then I guess that'll tell them where they need to treat next. Whatever lights up next, whatever, like, oh, now suddenly I hurt here, then they'll know they need to move. The next round of radiation will go to that site. So I don't know how many different sites they're going to end up treating with radiation in the long run, and I don't know how long I will be on the Zolata. I guess the Zolata works, so you take it twice a day, morning and night, for 7 days, and then you're supposed to, or for 14 days, and then you're supposed to rest for 7 days. It's got some pretty frightening side effects. And I guess if there's a list of certain side effects, like if your hands start to swell up and our hands or feet start to swell up and get really painful, you have to stop immediately. So there's a number of those kind of side effects that if they happen, I have to stop taking it immediately and go into the rest phase. And then I can start it again. But I don't know. It has to be delivered to the house by a specialty pharmacist, so I don't have it yet. But like I said, it should be here in a few days, and when it gets here, I'm supposed to start it. So we will see how that goes. The good news with that is I'm probably not going to lose my hair, hopefully. But it does. Other than that, it seems to be pretty much like any other chemo. It makes you sick, it makes you really weak. She said it's not as hard on your white count or your red blood cell count, so hopefully my immune system won't get as destroyed by this one as by the other chemos I've done. Again, only time will tell. I seem to react very differently than everyone else does to a lot of these medications, so I'm not going to know until I've been on it for a while. But I guess as far as how I'm doing, as good as can be expected, I suppose. I guess I'm scared this time, like sincerely. I knew it wasn't going to be good news when I had that bone scan, or even when I went in on the second, for the second MRI and CT scan. Just based on how I'd been feeling, I've been getting just fatigued all the time. Pain levels just gradually been getting worse. I deal with a lot of dizziness and headaches. But I wasn't prepared for her to say that you have metastasized cancer, which means it's a stage 4 now. Nobody's given me a prognosis. I don't know if they just don't know yet. It may be that they have to see how I react to treatment and how well treatment goes before they can give me that, or they just don't want to tell me. I'm not sure which it is. I am going to see a naturopath again through this one because it helped so much last time, and I've met a really awesome naturopath. I have a new one now, but he's already helped a lot with managing just the symptoms I was already dealing with, like the headaches and the dizziness. So hopefully that'll help bring down the intensity. Yeah, so because of the pain I'm in right now, and because of the, the combination of the chemo and the radiation, I'm not going to be working. I'm in the process right now of liquidating my business, which is probably one of the more upsetting things for me, because through the first treatments, the first round of illness, I worked all the way through that. Not full time, not full days, and I had to take chunks of time off in between, but I would work as much as possible. One, so I could keep my business afloat and keep it open, and two, because it was like a little piece of heaven for me. It was a sanctuary. It was something that I love to do and am relatively good at, and just kind of gave me an escape from the illness. I could talk about anatomy and other people's pathologies and come up with treatment plans and help other people, and it was a distraction from what I was having to deal with. I'm not going to have that this time. And my business was my dream. It took me 11 years in this field to finally build that and be able to work myself and have my own, and now it's going to be gone. My sister has put together a GoFundMe site, web thing. I will include a link to that on here somewhere. And the purpose of that is to just, I'm done working as of last Friday. I have a couple things to wrap up this week, but I physically I can't do it. And it breaks my heart, but I can't do it. I don't have it in me to do it. So the point of the GoFundMe is to pay bills and medical expenses that aren't covered by my insurance, because there's a number of things that aren't, of course. But as I get more information, I will keep you all posted. Thank you for continuing to follow up on this, and that link that I'm going to include for the GoFundMe, don't feel obligated to give anything, but if everyone would share it, the more people that see it, the more people that can give $5, $10, $20, the more likely we are to hit that goal, and then that's at least one thing that I don't have to be horribly stressed out about. So thank you all so much, and all my love.